Hey everybody, it's Sunday, and it's time for Sunday tutorials. I just recently got a new screen recording thing. Camtasia 7 is what I have. I had Camtasia 2, but the trial and everything ran out, so now I'm using 7. And 7 is a little weird, but I kind of like it a little more. I just kind of got to get used to it. I don't really like the delay they have before you start it, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So if you're looking for a good screen recording thing, I would probably get Camtasia 7. It's pretty good. So before I get into anything, I'm going to teach you guys how to onion skin. And onion skinning is pretty fucking easy. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to draw a picture. I'm not drawing anything good right now. I don't care. I'm just trying to show you guys what onion skinning is, and it's just going to be a ball. So I basically have a bubble or a ball, something really simple. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to insert another frame and I'm going to delete it. So now I have one frame and I have a clear frame. Now all I do to have onion skin is I select it in here. This is my onion skin. I can use an outline onion skin and basically see my other layer and see what it looks like in outline form, or I can just see what it looks like in skin form. And if I was to color it, I'm going to connect it so you can see it colored. Make it a lighter color. Maybe put a minor shade. That sucks, dick. Whatever, it looks like shit, but I'm just trying to show you. See, if I come over here, you see that it's the same. You can also space your skins out if you want. It doesn't matter. This thing can space out as far as you want, depending on how much frames you have. I don't recommend spacing it out like 60 or 50 frames because it's hard to work with. Mainly, if you have to, I would at least space it out maybe 10 frames at the most. But 20 is pushing it, and like you wouldn't want to do that unless you alpha'd half your shit. So that's pretty much all there is to onion skinning. Just click this button and you can swap between onion skinning and not onion skinning. So once I have this onion skin, I basically have a small replica of what I used to have. I'm going to go ahead and take this color, or a small skin, and I'm just going to draw another shape, and then I'm going to continue the process because I can still see it. I'm just going to keep making it bounce. There we go. That's what onion skinning is. Fucking great, because it makes frame by frame way fucking easier. Okay, so we talked about onion skinning, and we've talked about how I skeleton, what I do to animate. Now I'm going to get into actual animating. As corny as this may sound, this is one of the most important rules when animating. When something is in motion, an object stays in motion, but when something is in rest, an object stays at rest. Newton's first law applies for animating and anything in general. Technically, you can't throw your hand down and stop it perfectly. There is always a bounce effect. And when animating, that is true as well. Whenever there's movement, there's always some sort of effect after something stops. And remember that. Also, like I said, do not draw in one frame unless you're working in like 12 frames per second. If you're at 25 frames per second, work in 2. It's a lot more fluent and it works better. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to draw a head turning. So I'm at 100%. So I'm going to go to 2. So here's my head. It's facing this way. And yeah, I know it's a skeleton, but you know, this is what I do. And the head's going to turn. So what I'm going to do before you even start anything is I have an onion skin right now, But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to have a slight move. Nothing too fancy, just a slight movement of the head. Just slightly moved over. Like the head's turning only a sliver. Next I'm going to have a pretty big gap move. So I'm going to have the whole face sort of turn a little faster. So this is a pretty big gap. Now I'm going to have a conclusion. But before I even do the conclusion, I'm going to make another frame. This is the bounce effect I'm talking about. So I have this frame here, and I'm going to use my onion skin. I'm going to skip this frame, okay? I'm not going to draw on this frame. I'm going to skip it, and I'm going to go to the other one I made. I'm going to make my onion skin. I'm going to draw it out until I actually see this one again. Then I'm going to see, I'm going to draw myself the head when it's fully turned. I don't really care about the shape because this is just an example. So there's what the neck would be. If the head's right there, now this is important. If the head is in this general area, I want the bounce effect to sort of be a little more over, so I'm going to make it go a little more to the right. That was a little fast. And you see how it's kind of abrupt, and the motion is sort of like it just seems like it bounces a little too fast. Well, I recommend going about 3 frames and adding a little tiny movement after that frame going to the left, since that's technically where the bounce was. This is going to be your last frame. This is the slow down frame. And there we go. You can technically, you don't have to do 3 frames. You can do 3 or 2, but that's mainly what I do. This will probably look better with an actual face, but you know. So what you start out with is you have your main, you have your middle, and then you have your end. It's main, middle, end. So what you do is with the main one, before you actually start a motion, it's just a slight move. Only hesitant, just a little bit of a move. Then you have your big gap, which is your middle, and your middle should show a significant difference in your last frame that there's actually motion going on. Then you would have your conclusion around here. But before that, you need your bounce effect. So you need a few frames spaced out from there, if that makes any sense. Notice how it sort of bounces back when I move forward, and there we go. So I'm going to go in Flash and preview it and see how this looks. And there we go. And that's basically all it is. It's just a matter of spacing yourself out. And even for the middle, you can stretch it out a few frames. You don't necessarily have at 2. I actually do recommend it spreading it out about 3 in the middle frame, or the middle frame we're working with. Another thing that's really important you guys can do is just simply draw your storyboard out, and then you can animate it later. You can add in what motions you want to have. So for instance, let me give you an example. If I draw somebody who's gonna wave, okay, is gonna be It's gonna wave. Okay, so I have a lot of animation I can add in here. What he's doing basically is first he's saying hi, so he's waving, and then he's sort of explaining something, then he's getting close to the camera and he's putting his hand up to his face. So I'm going to space these out because this is what I'm going to be animating. First off, I'm going to animate the hand motion. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it pretty basic. I'm going to convert this. I'm not really going to convert this. I'm just going to change the alpha to about 50, and I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to draw over it. It's still blue, but only it's a little brighter so you can see a difference. I'm going to keep my basic head shapes, and I don't really have a head I'm going to be working with. And I know it looks terrible, but for now, I'm just going to make the body like that, and I'm going to put the hand on a different layer, because it's going to be looking different than everything else. So, my hand's here, and what I said, only slight movement. And then a big gap to show differentiation in the style, like you're changing it. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. To show difference in fucking what you're animating. And the bounce effect. So, since the hand is a little lower, I'm going to have it to about here. And then I'm going to make the arm. I'm going to come back up here. Like that. Now you're wondering how I'm going to transition to the next scene. Well, I want the guy to sort of go into that form, so I'm just going to sort of have to guess how his body will form like that. So I'm going to stretch myself out a little bit, and I'm going to create sort of my own motion to sort of go into this. Go into this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to unlock that so I can see it. I'm going to draw this frame, I'm going to stretch it out about 3, and since I want the bounce effect to be about here, I'm just going to go ahead and make slight movement. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be working with. Basically, I'm just going to have a sort of my own thing. I don't really know what he's going to do, but I'm going to have him sort of come down. I'm going to make his hands go all jello for a little bit, because I like making people with weird limbs. And then he's just sort of just going to be like, put his hands down. So he's swinging around. And the hands are still like that. I'm going to make the head. I'm going to go ahead and line my onion skin up with that layer to that layer so it's even easier for me to work with, because you don't want to guess on this type of stuff. Then I'm going to make hands come up. I'm going to move this over so it sort of runs into it. And there we go. I mean, you gotta find a way to work stuff sometimes. Sometimes it's a little harder, but that still looks a little weird, but there we go. So we have him sort of form into that, or turn into that. Now I'm going to make him go into the other one, so I'm going to stretch this over here. I'm going to make this a small one, like I have been. Okay, then I'm going to make him, before he did that, he's going to sort of bounce down a little bit, because he flew himself over there kind of fast. Now he's going to draw himself back really quickly as he's spinning himself around. Ooh, whoops. Swap these out. I don't know what the fuck happened here. I'm also going to add a little bit of a bounce effect back from here. The bounce is going to be going backwards because he's sort of moving his head back before he lunges himself forward. And I'm going to arch the hands a little bit. Now I'm going to swing him forward. A little bit, not too much, just a little more than I did before, since there was always a slight movement. And I want to sort of like make it equal up with this, that it's moving forward. And so I'm going to have his hands. So just sort of clamp down on his hands. Make his hands come down like this. Okay, so that's kind of slow, so I want to speed that up a little bit. Obviously, his head would be over this, if you're wondering why it looks weird. And there we go. Just those little things, those little extra frames make everything better. So you don't technically have to make everything frame by frame. A lot of people think that every frame has to be redrawn. And that's not always true. I mean, you can do that, but I don't recommend it. It takes forever, and you don't... And getting this simple effect is enough, really. And that's pretty much all it is to animating. Pretty much everything else is just line work and coloring. This is what I normally do is I make a rough skeleton, then I make a fairly less rough skeleton, then I make the final lines. This is like a 3-step process, and it takes a lot of time, and you got to put forth a lot of effort, and you don't have to necessarily do it the way I do. It just helps, and it really just helps me in like knowing where I should draw. So it's kind of like, it's just what I recommend. So I'm going to start. I'm not going to be doing a full body. I'll just be doing like a bust, basically, just a face and a body, because I'm terrible at fucking bodies. And I'm going to do one of my characters. I'm going to do Rylan. So basically what I usually start with on Rylan is I make sort of like a circle, then I make a somewhat squarish jaw, not really, but close to it. Then I give him a thick neck because he's fucking muscular as shit. And I'm gonna give him a little bit of something. I'm fucking terrible at muscles. I'm gonna give him a fucking lower half, but you can't see it, so it doesn't matter. Psh. And here's my terrible skeleton that sucks dick. Now that I have my rough skeleton, I'm going to make my slightly less rough skeleton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer, which I already did. I'm going to lock this one so it doesn't interfere, and I'm going to do a slighter darker color, just a little lighter blue, and I'm going to start drawing what I want him to look like. So I have his goggles, which are kind of like just some squares, and I have his Now, if you notice it's kind of just sketchy and I'm not really connecting the eyes, that's okay, because I don't want to connect the eyes. I don't want to connect any lines, because this is my final lines. This is my my rough sketch. And he sort of has a bit of a ball chin at the bottom, connected with a, kind of looks like a wrestler mask he's wearing, with yellow goggles, basically. And he has fucking boo ears, which are just like elastic over bands for his ears. And he has a red helmet that's combined with his goggles. He's a thick neck. And he's muscular as shit, which I'm not that good at drawing. So fuck it, I'm not even gonna try to. Draw his fucking arms. I did a horrible job. And there we go. Now I have a little bit of a less, or a little bit of a more rougher sketch. From here, I'm going to make an even new layer. I'm going to lock this. But before I lock it, I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to take the alpha down to about 49. So it's invisible. Then I'm just going to go ahead and remove this. And from here, I'm going to lock it at the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and make it black, since this is the color I want to use. I'm going to zoom in at 200%. And there we go. There's Rylan. I didn't really draw his body because for reasons that I'm bad, but that's all it is. That's all it is to animate. That's how everything comes down. Okay, so let's try something different. The fuck can I draw? Let's draw something from Mario. Let's draw a bullet bill. Yep, that's my bullet bill. I don't even know if that's what he looks like. I think he has the white hands. Let's give him a fucking gay sailor tattoo. What the fuck do anchors look like? There we go. Sounds like a fucking retarded F. Okay, so we have our bullet bill. I'm gonna go ahead and color it so it's even easier to work with. Okay, so here's our bullet bill. I'm going to convert it into a symbol since we're going to be tweening it. I'm going to go and convert it into a movie clip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the bullet bill move across the screen. That's simple enough. If you guys don't know how to do tweens, they're very easy. So we come up here to our layer. I'm going to go to frame 15, go and press F6. Then I'm going to right click it and I'm going to go to create a motion tween. Now I'm going to move my bullet bill. And there we go. So he's moving. Now here's another really cool thing we can do. We can also edit its move by changing its ease. If you want to slow down or speed up, depending on what you have its ease set at, is what'll happen. So we come down here and we see our ease is 0. If I make it 100, it'll slow down more towards the end. And so you have your normal speed, then it slows down here. Let's say if I come in here and make it negative 100, then it'll do the exact opposite. It'll start slow and speed up. What's also cool about this is, I'm going to go ahead and make this an edit. If I go to here and I edit this, I can manually, if I reset it, this is at 0% currently, the ease is. I can manually come in and edit this. And you'll see what I mean. Bullet Bill will do this weird fucking bounce thing. Since I made all these weird fucking zigzags, that's what he's gonna do. You can also change that if you don't want him to look like he's a fucking schizophrenic bullet. You can put it, just make it a little less bouncy. And make it like some fucking Rocky Mountains. And it'll be a little more smoother, but just sort of like delayed a little bit. So you can pretty much mess around with the ease and edit all you want. I'm going to reset it back to normal and make it 100%. So it slows down. Also what I'm going to do is, if it even fucking did it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the rotation. To change the rotation, you can simply come over here and do clockwise, that's what CW means, or counterclockwise, which is what CCW means. So I'm going to go to clockwise, and he's spinning clockwise, but he slows down since I have the ease on. Come back over here and let's make him go counter. Now he's going backwards. You can also change how many times you want to do. You can synchronize the symbols. I've never tried that. You can snap to guide. I guess it's doing a guideline, but I'm not too good with those things. And this is a motion tween. There are other tweens, like shape tween is what I'm going to tell you guys in a little bit. But this is just for like for motion. This is when you're tweening. These are for the people that tween, because I know not everybody frame by frame. So this is for the people that don't know how to tween, and I hope that helped you. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw something since we're gonna do shape tweening. This is all I really know about shape tweening, and it's all we're gonna do is we're gonna make a shape. Shape tweening's kind of gay. If anybody knows how to use shape tweening a lot better than me, go ahead and explain it a lot better than me, and I'll just put you in the viewer tips, because I honestly don't know shit about shape tweening except how to do it with one shape. So if you can do it to more than one, then more fucking power to you. So basically, I just made a shape. I drew it and everything. To make sure I have no holes in it, I'm going to press Control Z about 3 times. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert a keyframe to 10. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to create shape tween. This is going to create a green thing. This color, I'm just going to make it into something completely different. To add that, I'm going to make it this shape. I'm going to make it this color. And yeah, that's as easy as shape tweening is. You can as easy as I literally just made it, that's how easy it is. If anybody can do anything more than me, please tell me. Another issue people seem to have is this is not how you shape tween, okay? If this is not a good shape tween. If this happens, this is a bad shape tween. So let's say you draw something, and right now it's fine, but let's say I come over here and I never notice this small smidget space, this little microscopic spot right there. Yeah, that's going to fuck up everything. Watch what happens. Well, I guess maybe that won't fuck it up. Guess this be a little bigger. There we go, that should cause some interference. Yeah. Let's say you made a small mistake, and you, like I did, I came in here and I made a hole, and you don't realize that. You're going to get this fucking mess. And I see a lot of people do this. That means you fucked up and you did it wrong, okay? That's why you always need to check to see all your color is filled in. So I'm going to fill in these spaces. I'm not having that issue because I filled it in. And that's as easy as shape tweening is. Shape tweening is good for like transformations and stuff like that. But I don't really use shape tweening. You're welcome to if you can use it better than me. Shape tweening is also good for like backgrounds, I guess. You can change the color of the background, which is pretty cool. So if I want to come over here, I make this red. This literally changes from blue to red, so that's pretty cool in its own way. There's a lot you can do with shape tweening in a sense, but I don't really use it. But you guys are welcome to, and that's what I use. So, and that's about it for this week. Next week is gonna be a little less of the video time. It's gonna be not 15 or 20 fucking minutes long, but it's gonna be like 9 or 10 minutes long, maybe less than that, because I've pretty much taught you guys all I know, and there's not much left to tell you guys. Just some small stuff and a little bit of hints now and then I'll tell you guys, but for now, you guys pretty much have cleared me out. I've told you everything I know, and I hope that helped you. There's obviously a little bit of more stuff I can tell you, but just a little bit, and I'm going to do those, so just expect those, and thank you guys for viewing. Glad you guys used my tutorial.